Hey there, I'm Ashley, and this is New Day with Ashley. If you're looking for inspiration to make a difference and create lasting impact, then you're in the right place. Get ready to be encouraged by the stories of my guests who have taken risks, overcome challenges, and created opportunities. It's time to make the most of your new day. My guest today has been a passionate athlete her entire life. It wasn't until she and her husband experienced the loss of their two angel babies that Heidi Greenwood, founder of the Jules Leni Foundation, would bring her passion for running to a greater cause. In addition to starting the foundation, Heidi started Angel Baby Mile, an event to honor and share the love of other lost babies. Heidi and this group of volunteers are helping provide awareness and strength to others that have experienced the loss of a baby. Well, welcome to New Day with Ashley, Heidi.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so nice to have you here. So Heidi Greenwood, I guess the founder of the Jules and Leni Foundation, as well as Angel Baby Mile, and we will get to all of that. But let's go back a little bit. You grew up in Roseau.
Yes.
And went to college at UND and studied
Exercise science, and I got my education license too. So I actually was an elementary phys ed teacher first after college before I kind of went into the fitness industry part of it.
Okay. Really kind of dove in, and then you got your master's, you said.
Yep, master's there.
But really your whole childhood to present day even, you've been very athletic. Into running, preparing for a marathon with your husband.
Yeah, I've just been around athletics my whole life. As a kid, like I was always wearing like sweatpants with like patched holes on my knees because we were always out running around, or I was playing basketball in the backyard with my brother, and my mom would want us to come inside, and I didn't want to stop until I could try beat him, or I thought I could beat him, So it's just always like a competitive environment and doing a variety of things, not just running, but it has developed into like my main like passion as I've gotten older. And I think part of it's just because it's like easy to do, and like is you can go out and do it anywhere, whereas like the team sports stuff, it's like, oh, you have to have a league or whatnot to do those sorts of things. So I would say in college my love for running really flourished, because in college I did play volleyball too, so I did get that experience of being on a college sports team where it was very team orientated. So yeah, I think I just really fell in love with running, and like just it's just you out there,
Right.
So
Yeah, and I think, like you said, you can do it anywhere. I mean, maybe we don't want to do it when it is 30 below, but we can.
Yeah. Yeah. And, as I've gotten older too, I've got some friends in the area that are also enjoy running. And so really, like, sometimes, I feel like I talk to that person more than I do to my husband on a regular, because like you run with them for an hour, 15 minutes or whatever, and you chit chat and catch up. And so it's kind of like a nice like social outlet,
right?
So
yeah, no, I like that. I used to be more into running, but now more into lifting, I guess.
Good.
But,
it's great for you.
Right? Yeah. It's all good. I'm more of a walker now.
Yeah.
I'm embracing that parasympathetic state.
Nice.
Get the walking in. But so you taught physical education. You're a high school coach too?
I coached high school volleyball when I was a teacher for those couple of years in Thief River Falls, Minnesota. So it's another small town up north, an hour from like where I went to college, or it's an hour from Grand Forks at UND. So.
And then you became a personal trainer then too.
Yeah. So I in college, I never quite sure what I was going to do as far as like be a teacher, or I really was passionate about like strength training or personal training. And then when I got married to my husband, it was kind of like a perfect opportunity to try this other avenue, because we had to move for his training. So we moved to Cleveland, Ohio, and lived out there for his residency. And so then I got into the fitness industry out there and got experience doing that. And I guess I've never gone back to teaching.
So did you guys come move here then after that residency?
So we went to we spent 1 year in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, where my husband did an extra year of fellowship training before we came up to Fargo.
Okay. Yeah. So what year then did you come to Fargo?
2016, the summer of 2016, we moved back here, and honestly, it feels like home. We love it here. My husband's from Jamestown, which is not that far away from here, and it's just so many people. Like it's like a small big town kind of, with lots of different things and stuff. So we really enjoy Fargo.
Yeah, well, good. Yeah, I'm from here, so I'm maybe partial to it, but and then so you guys, what year did you get married then?
We got married in 2011.
11. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then when you guys, was it when you were here, you were starting to try to have a family?
Yeah, it would have been in the process of moving from Sioux Falls to Fargo.
Okay.
Like we knew we always wanted to have a family.
Sure.
And it just kind of worked out to wait kind of till he got back here, we thought.
Sure.
Our
plans.
Yeah, our plans, our plan was that we'd come back here and have our first child or have our first baby.
Sure. So, and this is a hard subject for a lot of people, so I appreciate you being open and vulnerable about, talking about these things. And, you experienced 2 tragic losses then.
Yes. So our first loss, I had a completely normal pregnancy, and then at our 20-week ultrasound, we had learned of a condition that our baby had called anencephaly. It's where nothing forms above their brain stem, so it's not compatible for life outside of the womb, and so that was really tough. And it was really very, very unexpected. I thought I was gonna be going and buying some shoes or the color. We thought we were just gonna find the gender of the baby that day, and so. I ended up giving birth to her at 22 weeks, and then...
So that was Jules?
Jules, yep. Okay. And then we were fortunate enough to become pregnant again about 4 months or so after. And so it's quite incredible. I just delivered, you deliver a normal pregnant, you labor a baby.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
And then just all the psychological trauma.
Right.
And then we were able to get pregnant again with our second. And then we had more monitoring and stuff. And then everything looked great at the 20-week ultrasound, completely normal, formed, healthy. And then just at 28 weeks, I had noticed that I didn't feel like she was moving as much. And then panic sets in, and then we went in and we learned that her heart had stopped beating. And so then I had to deliver her, the next day or whatever. And it's really crazy. At 28 weeks, sometimes you're oh, they're so little, or are they even real? Right, and all that. Yeah. It's they are they can live outside the womb at that point.
Sure.
They look like real babies,
baby, 2.5 pounds.
Preemie. Yeah, 2.5 pounds, and they have all the fingers and everything,
limbs,
everything. And so there's just really, very mentally hard, and where do you go from there?
Right.
Can you even have a successful one? All those things that go through our minds. And after that one, we were thinking of some things that we would like to try to do, or how could we help create awareness or create a better environment where people can feel more comfortable talking about loss. And to a person that has lost a child, we want people to talk about them or mention it, not to ignore it, because that to a lost mom or dad, that's they didn't exist,
right?
Or
and they very much did.
Yeah,
yes.
And they were very impactful, and they totally have changed me to who I am today, of having way more compassion to various things, you know,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
like I always told Mike, I go, I never thought I was like a mean person or but like when you go through something like this, you're total, like you're like, oh, like you feel
Empathy.
when your empathy just
Yeah.
goes, like you feel when other people are going through things, like
Sure.
just because you know what it's like, or to, I mean, coming home from the hospital like with nothing, you know, and like you're
Right.
carried that baby and for however long, and then not only the physical caringness, but like mentally you've already planned out
Right.
like they're seeing them with their name on their backpack or whatever,
Right,
you know, you've
yeah.
already had, you painted that vision, and so all that trauma of that. And so then we were thinking of like what could we do to help, or so we decided to create an event or have an opportunity for other people to share their losses, kind of. And so we started the Angel Baby Mile.
Okay, so what year did that start?
That
then?
would have been in 2018.
Okay.
18, yep. And the first year we actually did balloons. People, like, they're really huge balloons.
Oh, yeah.
And you could we had them on the side of the Fargo Marathon on one of the miles. So you can sponsor a mile like businesses can, or organizations.
yeah.
And so we sponsored a mile, and then we had a ton of support, or like turnout of people, and so many balloons. It was
wow.
really, really beautiful. We've learned a lot that first year on like on ways we could do things better. And so then the second year we had the idea of doing flower hanging baskets. And so now ever since then we've done flower hanging baskets, and Baker's grows them for us in town, Baker's Garden and Gift.
Yeah.
They just do a beautiful job with just high quality flowers that
Sure.
they
Yeah.
last the whole summer,
Right,
and
you
they're just gorgeous.
continue to enjoy.
Yeah, and so then people can purchase a flower pot in memory, and then we'll put their child's name on it and along the race
Route.
course.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so usually we have about 150 to 170 flower. That's kind of what we feel like we can handle as far as the number of flower pots. So it's quite the display.
Yeah.
And it's cool too, is like when the event's over, you know, they get to take that flower home and they can go water it like throughout the
Yeah.
summer, and it can, you know, mean something special to them.
Right. So I love how you've paired your passion for running and your passion for your kids and brought that together.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like, okay, this is such a neat thing, you know? So Angel Baby Mile
Is
so
the
was
name of the event.
The event,
Yep.
yeah. So was that started before the foundation?
Yes. So then what we had, you know, the intent of the event wasn't really to like raise money. It was more of just creating an environment, or creating an opportunity to gather people.
Sure.
But we did end up making money on it. And so for a while I would just donate the money I made to a different nonprofit in town. And then, so I was doing that for a couple years, but then I was like, well, I feel like I should have an own foundation, just like a formal way to collect money.
Sure.
So to make sure I was doing everything legally.
Yeah.
And so then I formed the foundation. And so now
Sure.
when we make the money, we just keep it, and then I decide what we do with it. So sometimes it's donated them to an organization, or I've done some things at the hospital to help support moms. So that's kind of, and we've done a few other events too. Like we did during COVID, we did a virtual wine tasting with a vineyard in Napa.
yeah.
We've done some other small ones, or like winter hats, or like things like that.
Yeah.
We've done, but the main thing is the Angel Baby Mile.
Yeah.
And then last year we had it in a residential part on the course. So in the past we had done it downtown Fargo, and this past year we did it down on like 9th Street. And
yeah.
and so we had like a bounce house. We had like all the fun stuff for. We had some beverages.
The turnout is always really good there, too.
Beverages. We had beverages and food and snacks. So it was really fun for like the kids and everything. It's just a little bit less rules, I guess, and, you know, the city stuff,
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
So we're going to go do it in that same location again this year. with a few extra things planned. I know we're going to have face painting for kids this year. We hired an artist to come and to help make that part fun, and we'll have food again for people, and so just a fun celebration.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, so do you run, or are you at the event?
Yeah.
Or both? I mean, you're a fast runner, so you can do it all.
Yeah. Last year I ran it, and I have ran it about half the time, and then half I haven't. I'm not running it this year. I'm just going to be managing the setup. I've been so fortunate in the past. Like, my mom is so wonderful, and people that just really step up. And so I'm like, this is the plan, and I just delegate a little bit. But I always feel a little bit bad that I feel like I'm pawning off on the race morning for the setup. So this year, my husband and I both are going to help with setup. Last year, my husband and I both ran. So it's kind of fun to experience it from the runner's standpoint. But this year I'm looking forward to seeing the other aspect of it too.
And I love that your husband too is, involved with this also too. Because there's also, even though he didn't carry the child, there's also an equally grieving process for him too.
Yeah. And for the husband or the dad, they often feel like they can't have those feelings, like, because they don't, I don't know if like it's a societal thing but they feel like they shouldn't have those emotions. Right. I think for my husband and I, it actually our losses helped, I think, strengthen our relationship, because we just felt like it was like nobody understood except us, because it was like our home inside the walls of our home. Sure. And so we really leaned into each other. Where I think, that's the way we coped and grieved. And I know some people relationships can really struggle when you have losses like that. But I think that I'm very grateful that we had, it had pulled us a little bit tighter, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, such a hard thing, but I'm glad that, you guys could find the beauty in it of bringing you two together even more. So for people that maybe don't know, an angel baby.
Yeah, it's just
explain that.
So we just termed it angel baby as like, what do we call like a loss, and so we just felt like that felt nice and comforting, and so it could be any like really a loss at any time. So we have some that are very early losses, and 10 weeks or we have some that we celebrate that passed when they were like 1 year old after. So we have a range of babies and stuff like that. So some have been stillborn, some have been, whatever the situation was. So
I'm glad that you're just making it so much more comfortable to talk about too, because people should. And I think, as a society, we've come a long way.
For sure.
People used to not talk about it at all. You didn't hear about it at all.
Yeah.
And now.
And oddly enough, like, it can be a lot of negatives to like social media and stuff, but there's some really good positive things. So I guess it's how we use it, right? Sure. But like, just, it's like can be a platform and a positive way to like, express and share and like, this happened to me. Like, so if this happened to you, you're not alone. Right. Like, this is how
I see you. I hear you.
And I've gotten like, people have reached out to me that I had no clue who they were. And then like, you can talk to them and like kind of help them. And also like, I don't want to say, like, I don't know quite how to say it correctly, but like when you're on the other side, like, so I would say I'm on the other side, like we were able to have 2 healthy babies. We have 2 girls at home. And so sometimes I think like people can be like, oh, well, you don't understand anymore. But like, no, you do like those never leaves you. That
of your babies.
Like I have this ring here and this one is a 2 teeny hearts. And that's so that it's still like, it's
They're
still,
always with you.
that it's still something. And we choose to talk about it with our other 2 children that we have here on earth. And they talk about their sisters in heaven, Jules and Leni, and things, and some things they don't quite understand, and that's okay, with
because they're young, they're
2 and 4, and so like our 4-year-old sometimes will ask some tougher questions like, why can't I see them anymore, or, things like that. And so I think it's a great healthy conversation to have, but I know not everyone's as comfortable in how they deal with it, but that's how we have chosen to.
I think you even had like a picture of your oldest wearing something about being a sister.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was like,
yeah.
oh, that is so. So I was going to ask you about how you talk to your girls
Yeah.
about them.
Yeah. So we just say that, you have your big sister in heaven, and we will say like, we don't know why, or like God decided, and then we talk about how we're so lucky, you're a blessing, and like and so maybe, I don't know, that's just how we choose to.
Yeah. No, I like that. So we talk about challenges a lot. So I'd say everything that you guys have had to go through is quite a challenge. But now, how about starting this foundation or starting the event? Any challenges in doing something like that?
I think just making decisions, and like hoping that I do everything eloquently, and that I don't ever offend anyone. So I always try to do the best I can, with just being attentive to, like, I get questions from people, when you do an event, and like, I have a job, I have children, I have like, so it's like I'm juggling all these things, and like, I'm really like, I have a board of people, but I would, if I delegate to them, they're awesome. But like, sometimes it's like, I don't want to, like, they're doing stuff too, so it's like, we're all trying to like do the best we can. And so I think that's just kind of a challenge. I'm really grateful. My husband's business, Vance Thompson Vision, they sponsor the mile, because I think it's like $2,000 to sponsor the mile. And so like, that's a lot of money for a nonprofit to like foot up when it's just like, and so we're grateful for that. And some of his employees are amazing and help with the manpower to set up the stuff, like with the flower pots, and like,
can't get done without all that.
Yeah, you need all that. So we're really grateful. So that would be a challenge if I didn't have those resources, even like picking up the water for the cooler and those type of things. But it's like, they matter. Did you order the tent? Oh yeah, she did. You know, like, so just doing having those people are really helpful.
Right. Yeah. Help you get the things done that you need to get done. And just to honor these babies too. I think it's just such a neat thing. And again, I'm like, and to know that your husband too,
is helping,
is
involved.
And also like his passion of running too, so I'm like, how fitting, and what a perfect event for you guys to put on, and then to honor these. Yeah. I just think that is so neat. What has surprised you the most about starting this?
How easy it is, probably, to the interest, maybe. Like, I feel like I don't do a lot of advertising. I don't pay anyone to do ads anymore to like promote this event, but it sells itself, so to speak. Like, people want to get this flower for their child every year. Yeah. Like, and so, I mean, that's awesome. Yeah. So I think that's a surprising thing. Sure. And yeah, just like so like the strong pull of women and husbands and families, and even like grandmas, and like, everyone is there to support. And I think that's really neat to see, and the continuous year after year of it. So that's been cool to see.
Yeah, I can only imagine, because I know like our community is just so great about showing up for things, and so for people to just show up again to help with the Angel Baby Mile, and want to be a part of that, and want, and I'm sure there's so many people that you maybe didn't know had a loss.
Yeah, for sure.
And, even for them coming forward.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
I got a handwritten cursive letter from some elderly woman from the community that, I mean, I don't know how old she is for sure, but, she had a loss like in like 54 or something, and she like was, never told anyone, or is like something that's held, because like our society was like kind of sweep it under the rug. It's not a big deal. And so like some of those things are just, they're so touching,
right?
So touching.
Like, could you imagine going that many years?
Yeah. And not feeling comfortable. And like, I know I already mentioned like Baker's Garden and Gifts, but they like email me saying like, hey, what do you want? It's not like me being like, can you please do this again and grow these flowers, you know, because
yeah.
they're growing 200 flowers for us,
Wow.
you know, or
Yeah.
like planning that. And like, that's a lot of space in their greenhouse,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
for this event. And so for them to do that for us, it's
Right.
like quite incredible.
Yeah, that really is. When you say that, I'm like, yeah, that.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
So that's cool.
yeah. Oh, well, what would be one piece of advice or encouragement? Usually, you know, I'm talking about businesses. So whether it is of like, hey, you know, here's a piece of advice on starting something that I'm so passionate about.
I think I want to spin this a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I would like, so I know like a lot, infertility is a big thing. Baby loss is, people struggle with it. If you're listening to this and like you're going through that, I just want to reiterate on you being an advocate for yourself and like getting second opinions, and like don't just turn your head when they say like, oh, it's they unexplained and go about your day. Like go seek another physician. I mean, physicians have they have a lot on their plate. They're busy. Like they're, you know, like if you don't stick up for yourself and keep asking questions, like nobody's going to care more than you. You're the one going home at the end of the day with an empty house, or, you know, so like that, it would be my biggest advice to anybody out there struggling on starting their family is reach out outside, go search, like not just locally, go elsewhere. There's a lot of different avenues as far as like like medical e-medical visits now that have really taken off, so you don't even have to travel places, but like sending your information to other physicians around the country, like expert opinion is I think one of the ones that is out there, and you can send your file to them and they'll review it and they can offer advice. Maybe they'll see something or recommend lab works, or so I just think that's super important to like get another perspective. So that's what I would want to, what advice I would want to say to those that are going through that. And then about starting, if you have something on your plate that you're thinking about, just ask questions, or, you know, don't be afraid to like make mistakes, or like, I remember when I first started our website for the Angel Baby Mile. So we have a website, angelbabymile.org. I've just kept that, even though we now have like a foundation, Jules Leni Foundation, but I just decided to keep it as like what people know of it as. And I remember telling one of my clients about it, and I was just like, yeah, I think there's just like all these typos and it's not like ready. And she was like, ready, just do it, just publish it, like it's never going to be perfect, what are you waiting for? And so I think sometimes we think it has to be perfect before we go forward with it, rather than like, you know what, people don't mind if there's a typo here or there. You're out there, you're trying to get it going, get the ball rolling, you're sharing information, and so I think that would be one of the advice if you're thinking about starting something. Like, don't worry about if it's not perfect, like just go for it and don't worry.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like both pieces of advice too, because I too believe in being an advocate. And there's so many just other alternatives, you know, and there's, you know, maybe they ran out the labs, but there's probably a whole bunch of other labs that should be run, you know, or different things. But and also, done is better than perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for, again, being open, vulnerable, sharing your story, sharing your passion, sharing about Angel Baby Mile. I think it's incredible what you and your husband and your team of volunteers are doing. And people can get baskets.
Yeah, and so even if you have not had a loss or don't know anyone that has had a loss and you just want to support, you can get your own flower, and you don't have to, you don't have to put it in memory of everyone, but you still can get one and support our cause, and it still means a lot to have another flower out there, and you'd still pick it up the same time everyone else does. But it just kind of like just shows your support towards all those other people that are going through that, or you're really helping us celebrate and make a stand of like they matter and they were important.
Yeah. No, I love that. So let's fill that mile with flowers.
Yes.
Get it packed and keep Heidi busy and running around.
Yes, exactly. I got this.
Yes. But no, really, thank you so much for just all you're doing in our community. I think I feel like this is going to continue and just keep on growing too. So thank you for all of the things that you are doing, and and for being here and sharing your story.
Thank you.
Wow, what a great episode. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always so inspiring sharing these stories. Remember to like and subscribe. I would love if you could leave me a 5-star review. This helps us reach and engage with more people. Join me next week, and until then, make the most of your new day.